Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today we're doing the October Vlog Challenge Day 16. The prompt is I Once Thought. It's a VR to Amethyst Ascension, and the challenge is by Palm Tree Bewitchery. This was a challenging one. Some of them are challenging, and so either I'll ramble or it'll be really short. Some people are making really cool creations. I just wanted to share more of my thoughts and myself with you guys, because I feel like, sometimes the content that I do, the unboxings, guide you a certain direction. And so you might miss some foundational aspects of me that might help you understand my perspectives. Anyway, so I Once Thought was challenging because as you get older, there's lots of stuff that you realize was bullshit. It's not just society's norms. It is society's norms. Let's just be that. It's not just that. It's wisdom, but a lot of it is you have to overcome society because society is batshit crazy. And it's hard to be authentic individual if you subscribe to the rules. You have to break the rules, but you got to know which rules to break. So that's part of the thing of growing older. As I got older, I learned, I once thought things were going to be black and white, and that's a really comforting thought when you're young. But it's not true. Things are not black and white. There are very, very few things in life that are black and white. Everything is shades of gray. And some shades are so light that they might as well be white, and some shades are so dark that they might as well be, gray, and things change on context and situation. But that was definitely something that you learn.
Can we please have some popcorn?
Okay, go out there. Ask your daddy. I'm filming. I once thought when I was a little kid that adults had all the answers, and when I was an adult, I would know everything and I would have my shit together. And now that I'm an adult, I find out that parents are just trying to get by just like everybody else, and we're keeping a good face for our kids, but I'm just as lost. Well, not just as lost. There are a lot of people that are way more lost, and God bless them. I hope they get a home, a job, clothes, safety, comfort, and hope. I hope that for them. But I thought I wouldn't be afraid of the dark, and sometimes I am. I thought that I would have all this time to do fun stuff, and frankly, work takes up a lot of time, and that's the cost of living and being free. So I once thought as a kid that adults had all the answers, and I know now that that's not true. I mean, we have some answers, and we get more as we get older. But you're losing part of yourself as you go. You don't have that childhood wonder. You don't have that innocence and that simple joy. I try to maintain that. When people say you're childlike, I actually think that's a compliment. And that's one thing I once thought. So let's see. Once thought things were black and white. I once thought adults knew the answer. There's a lot of things that this applies to. So, spiritually, there was always like a dogma, and there's a right and a wrong way to do things, and I know that that's not true anymore. And there are some people who are still falling into that trap. And if you're in the pagan community and you're still falling into that trap, then you really got to reevaluate what part of yourself is making you project onto others in a negative way. Because frankly, spirituality is so intimate and so personal that what you do with your God and your spirit and your ancestors, I mean, for the most part, it's nobody else's business, and nobody else gets to tell you what's up. So there is that. I also once thought that, here's something that we don't talk about very often, and it's like, mom shaming or any kind of shaming where you're like, oh, I would never do that, or oh, I can't believe people do XYZ. And I have been blessed to be a nurse and to work with all different types of people, both in the Air Force, as a nurse, growing up, all different types of people. And And there are a lot of things that we think with good intentions that are just bullshit. And they just hurt other people. And they just make us better than other people and more superior. Like, you think, or I thought when I was pregnant, that I was going to only feed my kid organic, and that we were going to have all these routines and set bedtimes, and, you know, I wasn't going to gender him, and that is what it would be like to be a good mom. And of course, for my mamas out there, you're just probably laughing at me. But it was hard, and at first I was really sick. And then, you know, we did start off with organic food, but then as a full-time nurse, I can buy organic food, so it doesn't have to be homemade. And then sometimes it's just like, well, it's conventional, or it's conventional grapes, or it's nothing. And so you make compromises, and then it's just like we travel and we're busy. And so none of the things that I thought would be perfect and structured, and they don't work out that way. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good mom. That just means that you're adjusting to your circumstances. I feel like there's so much, it basically comes down to wisdom. Many of the things that I once thought were shadowed by my ignorance, in that I was in a position where, like, wow, when I'm a grown up, things are gonna make sense. Or, wow, I don't understand why justice is so hard. It's either black or it's white. It's either good or it's bad. And then you see, like, sometimes it's both. Sometimes it depends. So many, I not to say that I do, so this becomes an ethical problem. I do believe in universalism, in that some things are always wrong no matter who you are, regardless of your culture. Some things are always wrong, period, full stop. Some things are always wrong. For most things, though, it is relative to your culture, and for many things, it's just like, it depends on where you are. I mean, or getting ready to go to China, and their rules about etiquette and public behavior is completely different, and those are small things, not necessarily moral, but you get the idea. And so basically what I want to say is, you know, don't be afraid to reevaluate your thoughts. And don't be afraid to say, I once thought XYZ, but I was wrong. And I now think this. There's absolutely no shame in learning, evolving, growing, maturing, getting wisdom, and learning that those tropes and those stories and those lies that we tell ourselves or society tells us are comforting in a lot of cases, but sometimes they're just a prison, and you have to break free. So there it is. Anytime that you find yourself judging, find yourself being harsh, find yourself being critical, find yourself using them language instead of us, we language, it's probably a good time to think, like, okay, how can I reevaluate this situation so that I have more empathy and perspective? Sometimes there is none. Sometimes if you do a horrific thing, there's no other way to look at it, and that's just where I gotta go. But for the most part, I think that we have beautiful minds, and they have habits. So your brain's habit is to compartmentalize things. That's how our brains learn. That's what your brain wants to do. And so your first thought isn't always your correct thought. Your first thought, for the most part, is how you've been conditioned and what society tells you to think. And that's okay. It's okay to have that first thought. You're like, wait, no, that's not okay. I that's none of my business. Or, like, oh, I can't believe that person is doing that. And then it's like, whoa, are they hurting somebody? Are they going to hurt themselves? Is there something I need to intervene? Nope. Okay, none of my business. Move along. And I feel like if we did a lot more of that and a lot less of this, ouch, that really hurts my wrist. I really gotta put my brace on. We'd be happier and better people. Anyways, guys, I love you so much. This went on longer than I thought. I hope you will forgive me for my rambling. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.